Hello, and welcome to Section 2 of our Introduction on Building Emotional Awareness. In this section, we're going to focus on turning our attention into our body and taking an inventory of all the physical sensations that are in our body. Once we start to see what feelings are there, we're going to start to inquire as to try to understand where these feelings came from, where did they originate, and what are they trying to get us to do? What message are they trying to communicate? What is the teaching? What is the wisdom of these feelings in our body? We're going to do an exercise in order to begin to develop a practice that can help you throughout this process. This practice is something that's helped me and has helped scores of people that I've helped teach it to, with various conditions ranging from depression and anxiety, OCD, ADHD, addictions, bipolar, you name it. One of the first steps in healing any of those conditions is to first take an inventory of what we're feeling, an honest, truthful look at what is present in us, and then to begin to build a relationship, a connection with those feelings in order to understand why they are here. Throughout this video, please take care of yourself. If you need time, slow the video down, pause it, stop it, and please try to follow along and give this practice a try. To begin, the first thing we're going to do is start with turning our attention into our body. The way we can do this is just make yourself comfortable. If you're sitting down, close your eyes. Take a few refreshing, grounding breaths and try to turn your attention into the body. There are certain places where sensations live, very common hot spots, if you will. Let's do a scan through these spots and see what's present. So the first place we can check in is the jaw. Let's notice what's present in the jaw. Is my jaw tight and clenched? The next place we can look at is the throat. Is it dry, scratchy? Is it hot? Is there a choking sensation? Is there something blocking my throat? What's present? Is it relaxed and comfortable? The next place we can inquire is our chest. What is present in our chest? What is our heartbeat functioning like? Is it smooth and strong and connected? Or is it fast and rapid and irregular? Is there a weight? Is there tension? Is there constriction? What is my breathing like? Again, is it long and connected and deep and refreshing? Or is it shallow and staccatoed? Is it fast and irregular? What does my gut feel like? Is it relaxed and soft? Or is it tight, clenched, constricted, knotted? Is there a hole or a pit in my gut? We just want to start to notice what's present here. Another way that we can start to turn our attention here, if we do this initial scan and we don't find anything, is we can start to try to prompt those feelings to come out. They might always be there, we just might be disconnected from them. So let's see if we can prompt them to connect with us. A way we can do that is try to remember a situation that might have been painful, stressful, or challenging. It could have been today, it could have been last week, it could have been early in our childhood. Just sit there, turn your attention into your body, and try and remember the sensations of what you were feeling when you went through this. And let's see if any of those spots get activated. Let's see if your heart starts to beat faster. Let's feel if there's a heat flush through your body. Does your gut constrict? Do your muscles get tight and tense? Does your jaw clench? Let's just try to notice what's there. As we start to notice what we're feeling here, let's try to notice what our initial reaction to these feelings are. Do we want to get away from them? Are we repulsed or disgusted by these feelings? Do we want them to go away? Do we fight them and try to suppress them? Do we judge them and evaluate them as being bad or something that we don't want? We don't have to do anything with it just yet, but just try to notice when you feel one of these sensations, what's your initial reaction? Do you want to get away from it? Do you judge it? Or are you curious and open and trying to understand why this is here? Once we find a spot that's really pronouncing itself, the gut or the chest or the jaw or your shoulders, whatever it is, let's try to turn our attention to that one spot. And now let's ask some questions. The first question we can ask is, how long have I been feeling this? When is the first time I can remember feeling this sensation? Is this the first time? Has it been here for a week, a month, a year, 10 years? Has it been there as long as I can remember? What was happening when I first started feeling this? Was I alone? Was I in danger? Was I hurt? What were the emotions that I was feeling during this time? Was I scared? Was I angry? Was I sad? Was I ashamed of myself? Was I disgusted? Or was I happy? Here we can begin to connect a specific emotion with this feeling. A very important question we can now ask, once we find the feeling, once we see how long it's been there, we understand the circumstances that were happening, where this feeling started, where it originated from. And we might see that we were scared, or sad, or angry, or ashamed or disgusted. The question we can ask is, what did I need when I was first feeling this? When I ask people this question, very similar common themes come up. I needed to be loved. I needed to be comforted. And those are kind of packed responses. So the next step is, let's unpack it. What does it mean to be loved? What would it look like to be loved? What would it look like to be comforted? Very commonly, these things look like somebody to be there. If somebody's going to comfort you, first thing, somebody's got to be there. Somebody to see me, to listen and understand what I'm going through. You can't be comforted by a person who doesn't understand what you're going through. So you need the person to be there and to be attuned to you in some way to understand what you're going through. Maybe some sort of physical comfort, a hug, a hand on the shoulder. Maybe what we need is somebody to guide us, to show us how to process these emotions, or to set boundaries and protect us. In other words, to begin to cultivate safety. Once we start to see all these things that we needed, we can also start to compare, how do we treat ourselves when this feeling's there? Do we treat ourselves in a similar way to the circumstances that originated this feeling? In other words, when this feeling first started, am I treating myself the same way that the people around me treated me then? If the things that we need are somebody to see us, somebody to be with us, to listen, to try and understand, to comfort, maybe to validate us, of course you're so sad and scared. Of course you're angry. Look at what's happening. Anybody would feel that way. The person who has to do this is none other than ourselves. So our practice is going to be to tune our attention into these feelings and just try to sit with it. For right now, we don't want to change it. We don't want to get rid of it. We don't want to fight it. All we want to do is try to sit with it and see it, listen, try to understand it. And perhaps just our presence alone will begin to comfort these emotions. So in short, that's the practice. Please take your time with it and try to go through each one of those steps. Spend as much time as you need, rewind it, and go through each one of those questions. Try to turn your attention into that feeling and just allow yourself to feel it. Now, when we start doing this, especially if we're disconnected from those feelings, it's going to take a little time, practice, patience, and persistence. When we're learning a new skill, these are capacities that never really come fully developed. Even somebody who's a natural born talent at something like, say, playing the guitar, they still have to develop the capacities to understand the guitar, the muscle memories to move around the guitar. It still takes time and effort, patience and persistence to develop the capacities. Nobody is born with this ability to play guitar, at least. Really, a lot of us are born into this world being deeply in tune with our emotions and knowing how to express them. A 2-day-old baby will absolutely let you know when they're hungry or when they're cold or when they're scared or sad. They don't care if you have to go to work. They don't care what you're doing. They don't care about your TV shows. They're going to let you know, I need comfort. It's through years of repression and suppression that we learn to disconnect from these. So if the feelings aren't available, just stay with it. Try to come back to this space of connecting with these feelings. A way to do that I find is helpful is to carve out time every single day. Say 3 times a day to start. How much time you spend each one of these isn't as important as sitting down and making the time to do this. If you spend 2 minutes each time or 1 minute each time, that's okay. Just get it started. If you can do 5 minutes, perfect. What's 15 minutes out of the day? I spend 15 minutes every single day, much more than that, looking at silly videos on YouTube. So let's just start to make time for ourselves. Let's make ourselves a priority. Once we start to get these 3 times down, we can start to incorporate this practice all throughout the day. When we go to the refrigerator, for instance, as we grab the handle, we can stop and we can take a moment to check in with ourselves. We can find that familiar feeling and just say, I see you and you're not alone. Before we get in the car to drive somewhere, before we turn the ignition, we can stop for 10 seconds or 30 seconds and just center ourselves and begin to feel that feeling again. My heart is beating hard and fast. I see you. I'm here with you and you're not alone. We can start to incorporate this all throughout our day. And the goal is that as these feelings get activated in real time, we'll start to be very present with it. And then we can make choices on how we'll move forward. So in the next segment, what we're going to focus on is how to process these feelings how to express them, and how we can make choices on how we will navigate these emotions. Talk to you soon.